Dr. John Coleman, Coleman300.com is the website. His 35 years of investigative study of 37,000 pages of the annals of Congress, the Congressional Globe, and the congressional records has given Dr. Coleman a unique, in-depth understanding of the layer upon layer of complexities which go to make up the United States Constitution. Very few, if any, constitutional scholars can claim such a unique distinction. And he also is the big researcher on the Committee of 300, political science, economist. Dr. Coleman, on location, hands-on experience in the field of different countries, makes him a writer, scholar, and lecturer of distinction. The Committee of 300, The Vanishing Middle Class, Apocalypse Waiting to Happen, Obama's America, Beyond the Conspiracy, and many more. Check out his books and more at Coleman 300 and his other materials at Coleman300.com. Dr. Coleman, great to have you with us today, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, in the 46 minutes we've got left now, time is flying, you've got the floor. What is the Committee of 300? What is the world government? And where is it taking us?
The Committee of 300 is the world government. It's one of your previous programs. There was a gentleman asking about the New World Order. How is it run? Well, it's run through the Committee of 300. They were also known as the Olympians in the early days, and men spoke about them under their breath for fear of them. This is a massive organization which in the beginning was run mainly by the royalty in Europe, but now, of course, it's spread all over the world. The American Eastern Liberal establishment was allowed in to join it, and several of the other countries came in as lower echelon members. And this committee was begun actually by the drug trade with China. That's where they've amassed their fortunes, and that's where they got their beginning. But of course, they've gone from that to every level of society, every facet of our civilization. And they are people who introduce population control and a wide variety of devices to keep control of everything that's happening. Now, you can say that this is like a huge corporation where you have the CEO at the head, you have his staff consisting of the senior managers, then you have the lower echelon managers, and then you have the subscribers, shareholders. And that's basically what this organization is like. It is a worldwide control body with enormous powers because it's invaded every government on the planet. There's not a single government, maybe with the exception of China, and latterly Russia, since the demise of their previous president, and with the coming of Putin, of course, things changed in Russia. And this gives you some idea of the breadth and the depth and the reach of this organization.
And by the way, you're a political scientist and economist, and I've read your work for more than 15 years, so I vouch for what you're saying, but perhaps you should give people a few dates, because you went and got source documents from the Office of Naval Intelligence, from retired admirals, from retired commander of the Office of Naval Intelligence, from government documents, and explain when it got its name, Committee of 300, and how it nexuses in with the Bilderberg Group, with the Round Table, Royal Institute of International Affairs in England, with the CFR in the United States, how these other globalist groups tie in to the Committee of 300.
Well, these organizations that you mentioned, like the Bilderbergers and the Council on Foreign Relations, these are mere cogs in the big machinery. They're not the preeminent bodies that we have to deal with. They are cogs in this giant organization called the Committee of 300. And they took this name from a family of 300 very powerful merchants and living in England. And it began with a charter from the Queen to give them the right to go and invade countries and make war against them. And it, of course, was based on the Chinese opium trade. They had a huge treasury of money gained from the Chinese opium trade. They even got a charter from the British government to go to war against China. That gives you some idea of the power of these people. It's like a private organization that really is the government of the world.
And, of course, even MSNBC admits that in 1832, this same committee of opium merchants, British, Dutch East India, that had merged hundreds of years before, set up just skull and bones to take over the elite of the United States. So This is really the oldest continually operating private intelligence operation.
Absolutely, and they co-opted the best available brains in the world at that time, and all the old liberal Eastern liberal establishment families, like John Handyside Perkins and so on, they were all co-opted into this committee. And today the CFR takes its orders from the Royal Institute of International Affairs in Chatham House in London. That's a daily affair. The orders are relayed through one of the brokerage houses. I don't want to name them in case they file suit against me, but they are the ones who convey the message to the Secretary of State, and then it becomes government policy. In foreign policy, military policies, in fact, very little that is enacted is not originally from the Royal Institute of International Affairs, which is the international arm of the Committee of 300.
It's amazing. And, of course, they use the drug war as a way to break up China, and they're doing the same thing today here. They make the drugs illegal and then take over all the criminal networks and mass all the secret wealth through the drug war. Exactly. That's, as I said, that's how they acquire their massive treasury, their amazing amount of wealth. The wealth that those people have made David Rockefeller look like a piker. Give you some idea of how wealthy they are. And he's just one of their agents here in the U.S., correct? That's correct. Oh, yes. And, of course, I also believe that there are a few others in the U.S. agents as well. Herr Kissinger and Brzezinski are above them. Oh, Brzezinski played a big role. He was one of their foreign arms specialists, and he wrote many of the policies for the U.S. that were carried out. And especially weak, I think, in this regard was the Carter administration. They were like just servants to this committee and did exactly, James L. Carter did exactly what he was told. He never deviated from that. Well, we've only got 40 minutes left, and it's clear I'm going to have to get you back up for 2 hours in the near future. Coleman300.com. A short segment coming up and a long segment. I'm going to try to shut up when we get back, and it's so intriguing, and go over your research of the Committee of 300, what their goals are, how they tie into these other groups that serve them, and where this is going in the future. With our guest, Dr. John Coleman, I'm Alex Jones, and of course we cover this group's eugenics aims in Endgame.